Thank you guys for coming. I'm amazed you trekked back up here and you're all ready for class for this afternoon. I'm super excited to present this topic because it's a topic that I'm passionate about personally. This is something that I sort of found by default. I'm apparently a naturally social person that loves to chat, and so apparently it's called marketing and social media these days. And so I'm excited to talk to you. At the same time, I also feel like I'm talking to like a room of geniuses. I have so much respect for everyone that's in the room, and so hopefully you guys won't roll your eyes and be like, oh, we know this, whatever. And hopefully, you know, you come away with something today. So I am, if you don't know who I am, I'm Willo O'Brien, and I'm currently one of the fabulous co-founders. My co-founding team is amazing at Stitch Labs, and we have a product that helps product-based businesses, and I sort of head up all of the marketing initiatives. If you are super Twitter geeks, social geeks like me, you'll want to know that we're at Stitch Labs and at Willo Tunes, and of course the hashtag is hashtag true you. And then of course, like any good social person, we are Stitch Labs on like a bajillion different networks, and I'm Willo Tunes on everything as well. Let me know if I'm still not speaking up, and I can try to keep speaking up. So my goals for today, because you guys are all geniuses, and I'm not telling you anything you haven't learned already, I really want to kind of like set this up to let you know, I'd love for you guys to walk away feeling kind of inspired, maybe having some new ideas for how you could engage your community, how you can engage maybe new customers, have an appreciation for social business and all that it takes to do it, maybe a few new tips and tricks, and then, of course, like some answers to your questions. Here's the agenda we're going to go over. Just basically a quick overview, and hopefully actually out of this entire talk, you can take it as how to acquire new customers, because really these go hand in hand. There's nourishing your community that you already have, but there's so much of that is like the viral opportunity of social, which really helps you engage new customers and kind of grab the attention of people that have never even heard about you before. So who here just got funding? Who's like brand new? Whose company is brand new? Okay, awesome. Obviously, all of us are in this place of like getting funding, and so I wanted to know like who hasn't even started, who hasn't even launched, whose product hasn't even launched. Okay, just a few of you. Cool. So I wanted to call this talk "Invite Your Customers to the Party," which is also just another way to say like how to create a connection with your customers. And the best way that I do it, which is very much like my personality, I think, is that I invite them to a party. I'm having a party. I would love for you to come. This is going to be awesome. And it's very welcoming. It's very open. It's very pull and like invite as opposed to push and talking at. So to do that, really, social media is very social. So it's about, you know, building these relationships, engaging your audience, and for really the first time ever, we have this opportunity to have this instant conversation with your customers, like super instant. They can see you and talk to you and ask a question right away. And that is an opportunity, and it's not to be taken lightly. It is something that we take for granted, I think, now that we're a few years into it, but it is awesome. And especially when you're new and you're a company that's iterating and wanting to iterate fast and hear feedback, it's a gem. So give them something to be excited about. Give them, you know, ownership, like an opportunity to really feel like they're aligned with what you're doing. And then they become, you know, like an advocate for you. They feel like they are a part of it, that they own something. And there's a lot of companies, and maybe even some here, that are sort of in that like gamification realm, where there's definitely a reward. There's definitely some kind of thing that you're giving to them. There's some of us that just have brands that maybe we service. For example, Stitch Labs, we have customers. And so we're helping these small business owners really like, you know, save time and do so much more with their product-based businesses. But we have a ton of people who follow our brand who don't have a product-based business. They just love what we do, and they love the work that we're doing, so they're still aligned with it in that way. So just to clarify, we've got all these different channels, and some of you guys are going to be working way more in like a LinkedIn channel versus like a Pinterest channel. But just to sort of give you a splash overview of some of these big ones, this is what I'm talking about. So the benefits of social, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know this, but just to kind of maybe one of these will help spark some thoughts, is that we have this opportunity to really keep your brand top of mind, build these relationships directly. Like I said, this opportunity to really talk one-on-one. Like, you know, we always hear that people are like, I can't believe it was like the co-founder who answered my email on Thanksgiving. And granted, it probably won't always be that way, but what an awesome opportunity to have this touch, this super, super high touch, very, very personable touch. And then really, I think all of that, it builds this trust, this transparency that increases this loyalty, allows them to actually align with you even closer because they feel like they're a part of what you're doing. It's very personable. It's amazing how like you can be a brand out there now, but like people love you, and it's pretty cool. So really, this is a lot of what I just feel like is like inviting your customers to the party, is that you're excited about it. You want them to be on board with you. You're passionate, so you want to share that with them. And again, that's just something that they can connect with. And the more you can do that and you're sharing your vision and your mission and your purpose, that really helps them, kind of gives them something to like hold on to. And it might actually be, just remember that it might be many times that they see your brand and there's just not quite something that they connect with, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, okay, I connect with that, and then they hop on board. So when you're looking to find your community, you have to really kind of discover, like, what is your company's voice? When you're first getting started, you might actually do the work of really clarifying, like, who your customer is. And if you're a B2B, that's probably different than maybe B2C, but either way, it's an excellent exercise to get really, really clear on who your customer is. ModCloth is a great example of this. They actually literally have they call her she, and in everything that they talk about, they call her she, and she is very, very specifically like profiled out. She does this, she shops here, she wears this, and so in every single thing they do to market, they are always making sure that they take care of she or her, whatever they call it. So making sure that you know where your customers are. Do they care about what you have to offer, and how are you communicating that and making sure that they do? And then if they're already out there having conversations, if you're in a business that has an opportunity of joining conversations where they already are, obviously that's a no-brainer. You want to make sure you can find that. That's like going to a conference where maybe they all are, or what have you. But it also is, we are in this place where there's so many startups here that are creating these new companies that we're really like forging new territory in so many ways. Sometimes we're doing things where we're having to educate so many people on what the product is because they're like, they can hardly wrap their brain around it because it's so new. So that's where you have to actually start creating that conversation. And social channels is a beautiful, beautiful place to start that. And it's a huge opportunity to start that. So recognize where if you're having trouble, like kind of penetrating maybe where they already are, how can you be the one who starts that and is actually creating the community? So I kind of said this once, but I'll let you guys read it again. So one of the things that I think a lot of excellent social marketers, marketing people in general, community managers, what have you, is that they're really good at thinking of really creative ways to share content. And as the internet sort of shows its age, and we've seen a bajillion things that come out, we're having to get more and more clever in how we share in kind of diverse ways. Things are changing so fast, and so it's kind of fun. There's memes you can hop on and what have you, but I want to just kind of like do a little bit of an overview about, and maybe give you guys some ideas. And as you're brainstorming, please like write these ideas down and make sure that you're, getting your little wheels turning in brainstorming. So I'm a big fan of just being super authentic, very integrous in everything you do. I think that as we are, kind of coming into this internet age and we're more and more disconnected, we're really hungry for connection and human connection, and we're starting to call bullshit, frankly, on people who aren't. And it's like you can be this close to it as well. Like, and if people will be like, then they'll write you off forever. So the more genuine you are, the more authentic you are, and you're actually, being very, very human. And this is really whatever your company feels most comfortable with. I have taken a very, this is me when I have marketed myself. I have very much interjected myself into a lot of the marketing that I've done, but that's my strength. There are some brands that truly don't want that. They don't want a face, and they're actually marketing themselves as a brand. And that's fine too. Your brand can still have a voice. It can still be very human. It can still be very genuine. So making decisions on that, that's fine. It's whatever your company feels comfortable with. But you should still then have that human connection that people can connect to. So by being able to, share stories, I'm sure everyone knows that stories are such a huge thing. Any way you can share stories, interjecting your mission and your purpose through these stories is a great way to achieve connection with somebody. That's why we love, Apple and Pixar and all these companies that have done that. We've been emotionally engaged. So in the end, your authenticity is very, very important. I always say don't give all your great ideas to Twitter and Facebook. It can be so easy just to do a quick little update, and because you are all have so many great ideas, so many big ideas, and very little time and resources, think how you can actually take one idea and dissect that and be able to publish that into maybe 2 posts or 5 posts, or a whole series of things. I think that actually can help you if you're kind of struggling to figure out where you're going to develop all this content. So we've all heard forever that content is king. So just a few things is like I said, maybe write a post and then you link to that. And when we're thinking about all these different channels, like I had on that mock-up before, we've got, Twitter and Facebook. Obviously, those are the big ones. I don't know who's here on Google+. Are you guys using it? Who's using it? I'm super curious, yeah. So, and you really want to make sure that you're varying your updates. And I'm going to get into some specific examples for you, but really think of this. So, and I'll give you some examples in a little bit, but that, for example, I'll write a blog post, and then of course we'll tweet a link to it, and then of course we'll want to post it on Facebook. But how can you actually start using more images that then could be put out on different channels, or how can you dissect it or roll it into a different way that can be spread out on these different channels? When I had my own business, I would say I was doing an event, and so I would do a blog post about it. I would tweet about it, and I would, of course, create an event on Facebook, and then I would post an image of that postcard or something on Flickr, and it was the list would go on. But people need to feel like they have the option of subscribing to your content in the platform that they're most comfortable. So while it may seem that you're everywhere, it's absolutely awesome to diversify it as much as you can. It's great to be able to know, even if you're not a super Twitter person or you're not a super Facebook person, but that everything is going there just in case there's that one person that's I do not get Twitter at all, but I'm on Facebook all day. They want to subscribe to your content there, you're putting it there. There's one topic here that I really want to talk about. There's power in the series. So this may be as simple as you have a Tuesday tip that comes out every Tuesday. You have a monthly spotlight that comes out about one of your customers. You do a webinar series that happens every 2 weeks maybe, or every month, something like that. This can be whatever it is for your company, but when it comes to publishing content, there's something to be said for a series. I had a video series that I did last summer, and it also actually doesn't even help your customers start relying on you and trusting you and wanting to be involved with what you're doing, but it actually helps you totally coordinate your content calendar so much more. It gives you direction on what you're doing so that you're not just on the fly all the time going, what the hell am I doing? So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but just hold on to that. There's power in the series. So this is a great example of, we wrote this post. It was our huge splash announcement when we started automatically importing products from Shopify. So this is our blog, and we publish it on our blog, and of course it gets tweeted out. But then I thought for Facebook, and something I've been starting to do more and more lately, is just take a screenshot of that post so that it's a more visual experience for them. It's not more text. They're seeing text all day. And it's very much proven, if you look at all your insights on your Facebook page, that people love photos. People will look at an image before they will read text most often. So the more you can make it very visually interesting, the better. So I've been starting to do this more and more lately. So we're going to get into this in a second, but are you guys familiar with EdgeRank? Does everyone know about Facebook's EdgeRank? Anyone? Okay, that's awesome. At least I won't be telling you guys what you already know. I'll teach you something today. So we have these Stitch Labs weekly roundups that we're doing now. One of my awesome new marketing interns was like, we need to do a weekly roundup. And I was like, great idea. This is totally power in the series. Every Friday, they get to take a little dip. It's like a summary of all the awesome stuff that's happened throughout the week. But then we also really try to interject all this like company culture and share with them our process. We're a very, very small team. We're a fun team. This should be fun. So, for example, we had gone to the local SF Etsy we also integrate with. And so we went to this SF Etsy meetup, and Camille and I just like, crafted it up or whatever. Well, the big thing you want to do, and this goes back to the EdgeRank and the Facebook thing, is that you want to kick people to your Facebook page as much as possible. If you are genuinely trying to get people to, if you're trying to get likes and then you're actually trying to utilize Facebook as a platform to market your business, the key is to consistently get them to go there. If they liked you once a couple months ago and then you never update, they may never see your page again. It's this algorithm that Facebook has, and it's kind of sucks. I have such a love-hate with Facebook for that. So what we'll do is we'll go to an event or we'll have something happen and we'll do some teaser photos on the blog, but then we'll always say, check out the full album on Facebook. So here's all of our fun albums on Facebook, and with every single one of these, we have had at least one blog post, if not more, because multiple things get added there. Tweets, some of these things have then doubled over to Pinterest, and it gives people an opportunity to dive in with us, and it also gives us a massive amount of content. Every single one of these, so for example, like this is our small little team here. Every single one of the photos that we have another person we can tag, then that gets tagged on their page, more people see it, it increases visibility. So it might seem like a waste of time initially, but if you are actually trying to have more people see your brand, more people like your page, more people see what you're up to, it's viral is like this, it's this viral opportunity that's pretty awesome if you are interested in marketing your company through those channels. So another thing we have is Pinterest. Our customers are very visual. They're mostly designers, artists, crafters, creators. They all have product-based businesses. They love Pinterest. They are all over Pinterest. I don't have enough time for Pinterest, but my marketing intern loves Pinterest. Like that's what she doesn't even watch TV. She just does Pinterest all day. So we have a pretty awesome Pinterest channel now, and it gives us a great thing where whenever we're doing anything, now we can pin those to Pinterest. It gives us an opportunity to further pimp our customers and kind of put them out there as well, which they love. That cross promotion shares our sort of our ethos, our mission, our feeling that we're not, we do literally our app does inventory and order management and like expenses. And I mean, all that's like the not so fun stuff. It's super boring. So if we can share this, like, this is super fun. This is to like save you time and improve your life. It helps kind of create this overall ethos. We just put out this huge guide, the ultimate. Nobody has ever done this before, and I was like, we need to have a guide. Everyone has questions if I want to sell my products on Fab. So I pulled together a bunch of experts, a lot of our customers, and said, let's put together this ultimate guide. And I interviewed a few people, and I made sure, thankfully I have a design background, but I made sure that I created very pinnable graphics to go with the article and put pin it things on the blog and underneath every single one. So all these images not only of course went to Twitter, but then got posted on Instagram and then Pinterest and then Facebook. So again, like think about this way that we put a ton of work into this one blog post, but it also helped, and that's going to keep working way beyond me. I mean, we still get stuff that like comments and feedback that is like, this is awesome, this is exactly what I've been looking for, I have a Fab sale, and I can keep promoting that for months to come as well. And it got Fab's attention, which, truth be told, they had us take it down the first day because there was some information in there that they didn't want, but hey, we got it back up again. So I had to do this one. I know it's a meme that's been done, but again, our customers are total Pinterest lovers, and of course, you know, Ryan Gosling lovers. So had to go there. It was very pinnable. So this was another super fun thing we did, and again, just this kind of goes into like everything from company culture to sharing your process when it comes to engaging your fans and like building and nourishing that. All of our, especially our, you know, our close customers and sort of like our small army, if you will, of strong advocates, they're getting to know us as a team. I mean, a lot of people that I talked to, they knew Jake and Brandon long before they knew me, and they're like, they practically pay. I mean, the service is great in itself, the product is great, but they are like, oh, they're paying because they love Jake and his amazing customer service. So they're getting to know our company, and so we did this super fun thing. We got this published in TechCrunch, and our whole team got together, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tattly. They are also a customer of ours, which is awesome. So this was like a double fun thing. We integrated with ShipStation. We were able to like show the world, these are all the integrations that we have. Not only that, we were able to like pimp our customer at the same time. This went on TechCrunch. Everyone got to see our team, and it was just such a fun way of like engaging all of those things. And of course, this went everywhere. Of course, it was pinned. Of course, it was on this, you know, all the different channels. I did this with my own personal announcement. Highly recommend, if you have anything big to share, have a graphic that goes with it. This graphic has been like pinned and shared. In fact, Jared, our awesome data intern from True, who's not in the room, but he has this on his desktop screensaver, and he's like, oh man, he's like, you made that? He's like, I forgot where I got that from. So this was something though that I did, and I swear, like, it helps. So try to think about how you can have pinnable graphics in everything that you do. Yes?
Can you just elaborate a little bit more on this Pinterest, like what makes something pinnable, why would I?
Yeah, that's a great question. Who here uses Pinterest? I'm so stoked to see the guys in the room. That's awesome. Good, good, good. Pinterest, do you know what Pinterest is at the core? I mean, I'll explain it for y'all. So Pinterest is basically like a visual bookmarking service, and it's fantastic. Like, I know friends who, for example, wrote a book, and they really wanted to create like a mood board for what they wanted the cover of their book to be. So they got on Pinterest together and like collaborated on a board because they wanted it to be like maybe like a little 60s feel here, or a little bit of this. It was Lane and Thor that now have Get Lucky, and they used Pinterest to like mood board their cover. So Pinterest is this visual bookmarking service. You can have different boards, you can collaborate on boards with people, but it's all visual. So people have everything from like the ones that we have are like fun things for the lab, and it's like you want to just collect all these cool things. Like, we want maybe this pool table and maybe this wall decal, but there's other ones that are like you know, projects we love. Like, who has a Pinterest board in here? They can share some of their stuff. Do you want to share what you have on your boards? So does that explain it? It's like this, it's basically a very, very visual, it's like Instagram, but you're able to like sort of bookmark and take all these images from everywhere. And then once they're on your boards and you've collected all this stuff, you can also like tweet them from there, or embed them from there, or Facebook them from there. Yeah, so you can plan weddings that way. You can, you know, talk to your spouse about what furniture you want in your house. Like, I think these are really cool ideas. That's how maybe some people have done it. Yeah.
Maybe this is too loose, but in a more metrics performance sense, when you take some of these campaigns and you're seeing performance relative, like in Facebook versus Twitter versus Pinterest, and could you talk a little bit more about it from that point of view, so that, I mean, some of us are just going to have to prioritize based on resources.
Absolutely.
So if you're willing to share kind of some of the metric-based results of relative campaigns and where they do better, I think it would help as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question, in case anyone couldn't hear it or for the recording, is just really about like the data and the metrics, and talking about over the various channels, you know, what those numbers look like. I think, as with any marketing that you're doing, and with any spend of whether it's time or money or resources of any kind, you actually have to do a bit of that for yourself. Everybody's company is different, and we are implementing like massive massive systems right now. That's why we have like our data analyst intern, and I've got my marketing intern, and even Brandon, our CEO, is right over there, and that he's like super data as well. So we're like putting together all these things right now to make sure that we are collecting this data really, really smart so that we know where those are going. At the same time, it's a really interesting thing, like as anyone in sales has maybe heard, is like you have to, like the person has to see your brand like 7 times before they buy, like that whole thing. So recognizing that a lot of what I'm sharing today is like building and nourishing this, and it's largely like a ball that you get started rolling, and you know, as you put that over the various networks, you can put tools in place. I deleted them out of my slides, but I'd be happy to talk to you about like analytics and ROI. I'm a big fan of that, especially when you are small and you have very small resources. It's at least nice to just to have something that's showing you that something is happening. And there are some really great and very affordable for small teams, things that you can get on that just show you, so you can at least see like a graph. Is this going anywhere? Is this doing anything? And it can kind of help do that instead of you keeping it in your head. So as far as our metrics and what we're finding, you know, it sort of changes over the board. I have to actually sometimes stop doing my social when I have other things that come up. We're an extremely small team, so I feel like in terms of the data, one thing I will say is that Pinterest is being shown as like one of the major drivers of traffic these days. I also think that a total secret traffic driver is still stumble upon. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for converting stumble upon traffic? Because literally, I've gotten one hit to my actual homepage from it, and everyone else leaves it.
Say it, what was the last part?
I've had a very, very low conversion rate, even of interest with our home. So I don't know if you can speak to that.
I actually just now am starting to get us like ramped up on there and starting to do it. So I can't speak to that personally, especially when it comes to conversions. And that's so interesting that you say that. I mean, we are doing a lot with like landing pages right now, and I'm even experimenting with a paid discovery on StumbleUpon. Did you do a paid discovery? Yeah, nothing. I would love to talk to you afterwards about that. Yeah, and then you wonder like, what is the you know, who are the people that you're targeting? Your company might be different than mine. What that's going to look like, I mean, just who knows? There's so many things that go into it. So sorry if that sort of incompletely answered your question about analytics, but it's a big question. It's different for everyone. So I'm going to talk to you about a few tips that we do. Some of you guys might do this already, but one of the big things is when I jumped in and joined on as co-founder with Stitch, we'd already been following like a couple hundred people, and I was like, who are these people? I follow like 1,000 people on my personal account, but diving into like a sea of strangers of people we were following, I was like, who are these people? So instantly I made sure that we set up lists. You can have these be public or you can have them be private, but it's a fantastic way for your entire team to know what they're looking at. And you might be the only one on your team that cares about that, but as you grow, you might be bringing more people into it. I know, and I love it, I use Tweetbot instead of the Twitter app on my phone, and Tweetbot's fantastic because you can just dive into a list right away and that's the whole stream. So I know I can sort of put myself in that mindset. I'm talking to all customers or potential customers right now. So they all make products, they all either are a customer of ours or they could be, and then I can like put myself in that mindset. Or I can, you know, go in and talk to like our affiliates and partners or business consultants or press people, what have you. I highly recommend, and we are actually going to be switching ours to be public here pretty soon, or at least most of them. You're getting a little inside track on these. This OMHG Chat Peeps, this is a great example of like, if you join a chat or you join a conversation that's happening online, or maybe a bunch of people went to a conference, start saving those people in a list so that you know where you followed them from or where you met them or where you discovered them initially. And then you can go back in there and be like, oh, hey, you know, I met you initially on this chat that one time. We've been chatting a lot with Sail lately. They make a mobile processor very similar to Square. And I was talking with Gianna, their marketing person, and she was like, yeah, we use lists. And I was like, I use lists too. All of hers are public. And so this is a great example of how you can even set it up publicly. They were like small business news. And then all their little subtext is like experts in small business that we follow and we want to get to know better. So it's very public. We're going to be changing ours to that because I think that when you follow somebody, they might be like, yeah, whatever. But then when you add them to a list, now that twitter.com has like that whole connect screen and you can kind of see this a little bit more interactively, I think it's like a nod to them and it can be very respectful and you might increase your chances in them following you back. Just a thought. Another thing that Gianna recommended and I had never heard of, and I'd be curious if any of you guys did, but that she's starting to put hashtags in their Twitter bio because there's a ton of sites like Listorious that you can search for different like hashtags and tags that people have said that they are. So if somebody's searching for small business or somebody's searching for payments or what have you, they're going to make sure that they show up in those searches. So I need to maybe switch ours to that. Has anyone heard that before? Yeah? I had never heard that, so we'll give it a shot, right? Anything that's going to make it work. This is, many of you guys might know, you might be total like Twitter old school, but just in case you don't, I'm always shocked at how many people don't know this. So my little tip for you today is when you start a tweet with a @ username, like, so if you guys were like, @WillowTunes is rocking this presentation, if none of your followers followed me already, none of them would see that. It's meant to be like a conversation. So if I'm having a conversation back and forth with Ted, none of you guys have to see it because you're like, I could care less about their conversation. So making sure that that's why you maybe see people use like a tilde or a dot or something before that @ username, and then everyone will see it. And if you want more, it's at that bit.ly/Twitter project. Yeah.
Do you recommend that approach as opposed to having like a separate account for corresponding with users? Do you recommend like it's a unified brand, and then since nobody else can see?
How do you mean? Like for support or?
Say like, okay, Verizon cares or whatever. So they tweet their customer service or interactions on a different.
Yeah, I think that's for a lot larger company. We do have Stitch support reserved just in case our support gets so big someday, but right now it's all within one. So I think that that's sort of, I mean, Verizon obviously is huge, Comcast is huge. They probably want to do that so that their main channel is, who knows what they put out on it. But yeah, I think that it's up to you to decide if you're big enough. We have Stitch support, but we don't want to like separate it. That's like more work at this point. And it's also kind of can be confusing. If I tweet at, say, Comcast and then Comcast Cares gets back to me, I mean, I get it, but you know. Is there another question over here? Okay. So again, like find hashtags that are related to maybe conferences or chats. A lot of times, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys follow hashtags, but especially when it's within a conference. Today, great example, True You. You'll get to see what every other person in the conference is tweeting. It's such a great way to sort of like, you know, almost an introverted way of like seeing what everyone else is doing. But you might see a photo of somebody and then be like, oh, I saw your tweet. It's really like this opportunity to connect with people as well and get a sense of like every other person here who is here or just a huge Twitter nerd and loves to tweet and use hashtags. But I think with conferences, it's especially helpful, and then chats. I have like an SF Etsy chat, that OMHG is this Oh My Handmade Guide. There's another chat that happens like Craftermind. So if I want to like dive into those conversations, I have that opportunity to do so. You want to mention friends just like you want to tag people on Facebook as much as possible. The more you can mention friends and customers and fans as much as possible, it gives them the opportunity, again, to like share your content, retweet your content. This engagement, and you might not have time for it, and I totally get that. I had to totally reprioritize my time at the beginning because I just had a huge marketing initiative ahead of me, and while I'm really good at Twitter, it just wasn't where my time was best spent. So that's up to you, absolutely. But hands down, that engagement builds relationships. And now we have a really strong relationship with SF Etsy, where at the beginning, I kind of felt like we were like, hey, we're this company that kind of wants you guys to all use us. And like now we're like friends, like we're pals. I go to their meetups, so it's good. A few Facebook tips for you. You might already know, but this is the #1 thing that I see Facebook pages not doing that is super, super easy to do and important, and it puts your URL right here, which if you ask me, I don't want people just to go to our Facebook page. That's great and all. I want them to go to our website. I want them to take our tour. I want them to sign up for our product. So all you have to do is just in this About section, right in your info edit, just put your URL right there. So engaging with your customers helps build your brand. So on Facebook, some of you maybe know this, sorry if it's super obvious, but you can change and actually be utilizing Facebook as your brand. So they've made this really easy right now. You can actually do it in 2 different places that I've sort of shown magically simultaneously here. But if I go then and use all of Facebook as Stitch Labs, that means that I'm able to go and like my customer's page as Stitch Labs. So that when they see a new like on their page, it's from Stitch Labs. Not only that, but that after we've now liked all these pages, when I go to my home screen, it's all of these companies that I want to support. So my home feed on Facebook is all of their updates, and I can like them, support them, comment on them, and they get to know our brand that much better. Here's an example of that where I've maybe commented on this as like Stitch Labs, like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And then you can see that I also tagged her on our page. Many thanks to Neves for coming by our office today. It was great to see you. And then that shows up on her page in this like recent post by others. Again, this is kind of the home feed going down, so I can just scroll down this whole thing and just be like, sweet, that's awesome, like, whatever. Again, this is where you might not have so much time for this, but if you can put a little time towards it, it helps them know that you're there supporting. And granted, you guys might have different customer bases, and I'm using the word customer, but some of you guys might use users, fans, clients, what have you. This is another great example just of making sure that so when I posted this, I made sure I tagged like all these people so that then showed up on their page. They were then able to like it, they were able to share it, they were able to be that much more involved. And it kind of is also like a way to kind of give them props and just like a nod. Keeps you top of mind. Here's this edge rank thing, just in case any of you guys have never heard of it. And there's this beautiful graphic that was done by Moon Toast. Edge rank is this funny calculation that's essentially that the affinity, which is this is that algorithm where they may never see your page again. You know how like you're friends with some people on Facebook and you never see their updates? And you're like, I have like cousins that I just sure we're friends on Facebook, but I never see their updates because they're not who I'm actively engaged with. So that affinity is really the big piece of like posting photos on your blog and getting them to go to your Facebook page. Every once in a while on Twitter, being like, hey, come visit us on Facebook. Sending it out in your newsletter, come visit us on Facebook. The weight is like the actual level of interaction that it gets. So the sooner your content gets likes and comments, the longer it's going to stay up there. So this edge rank really, if you can almost even imagine it, this weight is a really beautiful example. This either like sinks and runs out of their home feed or it stays up in there. And so it's almost like helium with more affinity and more comments and weights, just like helium, it keeps it afloat. And then of course time, obviously it's just going to go down. Yeah.
Edge rank. So once they see it, it'll disappear, right? I mean, once it's been displayed, it will disappear for that particular user. Like it won't stay in that user's feed. For that user? Not necessarily. If they have commented or liked, and then a bunch of other people commented or liked, it might stay up there. If nobody's liking it or engaging,
it'll probably sink. Yeah, absolutely. So here's some ways that you can increase edge rank. Being consistent, I think, is very key. It's very similar to it's why you read Boing Boing or Kotkey or any of those sites that you read, is that you can hit that site and it consistently has content. And I think there's something to be said for building sort of like that trust and that reliability when you're constantly sort of showing up. If you go off the face of the map and you're not there anymore, it's just, you're not in front of them, which that's your whole goal. So adding photos, adding videos, providing valuable content that they want to share that engages with them, and then post manually. This is an interesting thing. I just did a huge talk about Facebook specifically and started researching this edge rank thing. And one of the things that I found is that manually posting content on Facebook, rather than a third-party app like TweetDeck, Hootsuite, a bajillion others that we're using these days, can increase viewership as much as 300%. So I'm starting an experiment. It's total pain in the butt because I used to just love scheduling things out either in Sprout Social, which is a great ROI app, or Hootsuite. And now I'm like, okay, we're just gonna try to manually post things and just see if that engagement goes up. See if we get more comments, more likes, because it's more likely to be in their faces. And I figure if I've taken all this time to organically get 1,000 likes on Facebook, I wanna make sure they're seeing my content. So, just something to think about, yeah.
Is the theory that it will affect your edge rank?
Yeah, the theory is that affinity and that weight is dramatically affected.
The fact that it's coming from a third-party API will
Yeah,
automatically
it's like Facebook relegates it. It's like, and it's my love-hate for Facebook, is like, of course they want you on their site. I mean, you could use those other tools and never visit facebook.com at all. They want you on their site. I hope that Twitter never does that. It'd be such a pain. Yeah.
One thing I noticed is that it's not really my world company, but we're a video app, so like sometimes I'll post a video via our show you app page during lunchtime, knowing people at lunch are gonna watch it, so they get increased time of viewership. I think they prioritize pictures and video during lunch hours.
Interesting.
I'll also be cognizant of the fact that I post something for show you app on via Facebook or via Twitter. We know that people are using show you on their iPads during evening time, so I'll be sensitive of what I push out and when it was trending based on what device they're going to use. I think that affects how Facebook does it. Because you went a couple of weeks ago, not giving us any insight into like how they choose that, but they have read, watch, listen are the 3 priorities. So based on your content you push out throughout the day, they'll prioritize like read if they think reading is more important at these hours versus watching. Versus listening. So those are the 3 categories.
They've got us, man. They have like all these new rules.
Read, watch, or listen.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, this stuff is changing so fast and we have to jump through so many hoops. So the more we can share, in fact, I unfortunately don't know who it is because I skimmed it, but I loved that Facebook ads thing that came out on the Loop. That was all tips around Facebook ads. We're running a bunch of Facebook ads, and so it came out on the Loop if anyone didn't see it. Yeah?
I'm not sure if you're aware, but just within the last week, you can actually promote specific posts.
Yeah, promote posts.
We did it for kind of a really important, post that we wanted every single one of our fans to see.
Yeah.
And we got, it was like 10 or 20 activity. And it was, very low.
Worth it? What was it, $5? Wow, that's awesome. I was going to do that. I wanted to try that with our ultimate guide just to see what would happen.
I think they could guarantee or estimate how many people it's going to, are going to view it over the next 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all learning so much. So keep sharing, please. Tell me all the things that I haven't said up here, because I'm sure you guys all know a lot more. Yeah.
To get better stumble upon click-throughs from people who come, try and talk to stumble upon on that page. Hey, Stumbler, welcome to the page. We would just look for the referred if it was stumble upon. And the easiest thing we could get them to do was click thumbs up on that page. Something I've been thinking about doing is giving them a link, that stumble upon thing where it'll just stumble you through all the popular stumbled pages in that site. So then you're like, here, look at other popular stumble upon pages on that site.
I like that. That's clever.
Custom refers can be really effective. Custom refer messages.
Nice. Cool. So we have to wrap it up here really, really fast. I'm going to go through this lightning fast, but I just want to give you guys a really quick overview about how you can integrate it into your marketing plan. And something that many of you guys may or may not know is creating like a content calendar helps you really like work holistically, what helps your team work holistically. So creating a content calendar, and this is what I said, like power in the series, if you sort of know what's going on, you've got a release here, a launch here. This is a very, very dummied down one, but then we did this is all for last summer when I launched this video series, and I had this very advanced content calendar. Okay, I know that I've got a newsletter coming out this time, I've got a teaser trailer coming out at this time, I need to hype for this, and I need to do this, and then you can kind of like map it into reality and actually put it on there. With my team, it's really helpful because we know we have certain launches coming out, certain articles coming out, things that we want to do, certain blog posts. Maybe we have a whole theme in June for t-shirts and apparel. That means that everything that's on the content calendar should be related to that, and it helps you brainstorm new ways. So think about integrating that. The key really is just to not make it all about your brand. Be providing things of value to these people that are just not them, you pounding them over your head with your brand and what you have to offer. And then I would hope that all of this gave you ideas on how to get new customers, and pretty much engaging new customers. I'm going to just give you the same thing over again that I've said here is just, being consistent, share ownership, make them feel like they're a part of something. And then this is sort of, work it like you mean it. That's it. Anyone have? Does anyone have any more questions? I was so bad with the microphone. Should we get the microphone out here now? Or is that just, we're past, the ship has sailed? There.
Okay, so I'll hold it out like this. This might be something for a side conversation with some of the people in this room, because I think it'd be really interesting to do. But that is wondering what you think the value is of doing customer support through these channels, and whether you should be using all of the channels to do customer support, or if you should be funneling them into a specific channel for customer support. Because one of the things that we found at WordPress.com is that the scalability of doing support through these channels is really, really difficult, because it becomes exponentially more difficult to reach everybody through wherever they are.
Yeah. My answer to that is it's way too complicated. Not everyone is on one channel. Pretty much everyone does email, and I think it's way too complicated for you to think that you can be like, hey, we're doing support over on Twitter, come over there. And they're like, I don't use Twitter. So I think everyone does email, and it's also, I think, just as a support, keeping everything together. I mean, you might be able to answer some short questions, but I know like Jake has no problem with being like, I'd love to answer this for you, email us. Yeah, and we use Desk for all of our support. Another question? Do you want to get a microphone to this gentleman?
Okay.
I know.
To what degree are you putting best efforts across all of these channels versus kind of investing to find one channel that's really meaningful to go long and deep? Because it looks like a ton of effort to invest in a lot of channels, each of which have its nuances. So is it testing or is it marketing?
Is it, what did you say, is it testing?
Are you testing to find the channel that can be most meaningful to you, or are you saying these are 6 channels, we need to be everywhere, and we're going to put effort into every channel, even if it's only 200 likes, 300 likes, 500?
Right.
When do you cut these channels off?
I would say that, I mean, already I've had to be like, you know what, I can just barely get around to Instagram. That's not like super crucial. You can't even like, they can't link even back, Pinterest is sort of, I think it's only getting enough because actually Camille loves to do it. So I'm like, awesome, do it a little bit. That's great. And we've created, you can actually have collaborators. So some of our like major advocates and customers that love it and they love Pinterest, I'm like, cool, I'll add you to this board. And if you see anything, add it. So I've pretty much like, there's things that fall by the wayside. If I have gone long and deep on anything lately, it's been the content on our blog, because that is when they're on our website. I can control that wholly. It lives there, it stays there, it doesn't flight away like in 2 seconds. And then that's just naturally easy to at least get out to Twitter and Facebook. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Is Pinterest searchable?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I can see there's a huge advantage using Pinterest over anything else.
Yeah. It is. It's fantastic. And the community there is like addicted to it. Literally, there's people that are like, the first thing I do is go on Pinterest in the morning. Yeah.
It seems like some companies, and I'll follow them both on Twitter and Facebook, some companies don't authentic because they're just putting the same content on both.
Yeah.
And other ones will like engage with people on Facebook because you engage differently than you do on Twitter.
Yeah, agreed.
And there's a big difference.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think even just, I know with my own personal stuff, I have a whole different community on Twitter than I do on Facebook, and it's a different engagement. I try to diversify them for sure, but I also recognize that people are seeing things at different times, and I'm busy, so I think you just have to make choices of that. But I think you can engage people like polls, images, questions. There's people that are doing it really, really well, and you can do a lot more. Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah, one more.
Yeah, could you talk a bit about finding that voice? When you're talking about that, I was sort of thinking like Jack in the Box talks like this fake CEO guy who's like,
right.
Yeah, I made this hamburger. And McDonald's like, we're kind of healthy and about family, and like none of them really make any sense
healthy.
about cheap food, right? But like they somehow got hundreds of people to all agree that their voice is X. So I have a very small team of people, and we can't figure
Yeah. I think that it is first recognizing who you're talking to. And I mean, obviously you have to do what's authentically you. You can't become someone else every day, you know, so that's very important. But I think that it's making sure that you're recognizing who you're speaking to and talking their language. So, I mean, that's right up there with like giving a talk. I had to make sure I knew who my audience was. I usually talk to like crafters who are like, I haven't really gotten on Twitter yet. And so like knowing who your audience is super, super important, and profiling that person. Like, how old are they? What technology do they use? What do they like? What do they usually eat? What do they wear? Where do they shop? Like truly profiling them and knowing then like the conversations that they're having or how they like to be talked to. If you're talking to teenagers, it's gonna be a lot different than if you're talking to like 40-year-old moms with kids or what have you. So it's recognizing, I think, first like profiling really like, and I think it can be scary to do that because you're anytime you do like a niche profiling, it makes you feel like you're sort of like ignoring this huge set of potential customers. But I liked what you said where, you know, we're kind of doing this right now where if we can just like super dive deep, if you can have this super focus on one thing and like rock that, you actually probably are going to reach a larger ripple of people by targeting there, as opposed to trying to go so like breadth and, you know, find everyone, and then everyone's kind of like, meh, I feel a little lukewarm about that, but you know what I'm saying? It's, yeah. Okay, I think time's up. Thank you guys so much.